Welcome, trainers, to a journey unlike any other in the vast and untamed land of Hisui. Today, we're embarking on a unique challenge in Pokémon Legends Arceus. What's the challenge, you might be asking? Well, today, we're going to be playing Bingo. It's the same lockout race program as many other YouTubers have been using for games like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, but we're aiming for completed lines as this challenge is just for me. We start the challenge upon picking our starter Pokemon. That's when we start the timer too. Trying to see how long this takes, of course. First, nothing generated, but a refresh generated our card for this challenge. We've generated this special bingo card filled with challenges inspired by the gameplay of Pokémon Legends Arceus, from capturing elusive Pokemon, collecting items, or completing missions. The goal we've set for ourselves is to complete 2 lines of this card, horizontal, vertical, or diagonally. Each square on our bingo card represents a different trial or task within the game. There's both easy and hard tasks on our card. Defeating the tutorial Starly 5 times is easy, just like popping all the balloons on a course is. But, as you can see, obtaining Sneasler or catching the Rhyhorn line might be a bit of a time task, because of the fact Sneasel don't appear until Highlands, and same with Rhyperior and Rhydon, which spawn naturally there, and getting to Highlands can be a little bit of a grind, as it requires star rank 4. But every challenge completed brings us closer to becoming true Pokémon Legends Arceus. First things first, we find ourselves at the tutorial, meeting with Akari, who quickly talks about the basics of catching Pokemon here in Pokémon Legends Arceus. There it is, the Starly which we have to defeat 5 times to get this first gold on. Now, most of these Pokemon took 1 to 2 hits to defeat, which relatively quick, but a number of them also fled. So it ended up being a total of fighting like 8 Starlies instead. So if you ever see that on the bingo card, always try to hit them in the back. Actually gives you a free thing. But now we've defeated 5, and there it is, first task completed. We return to Jubilife and receive the Survey Corps uniform. Making way to our home and putting on the sleek outfit, we once again return to the Survey Corps to also get our hat, completing the new look. Next, we run upstairs and meet Commander Kamado, who promptly challenges us, and we obviously lose, getting thrown into a wall. We continue on with the story until we get our first request from Beauregard, here asking for us to retrieve a Morphle, which can be done from the field ones. This is our introduction to her quests, which are side missions within the game. We follow Akari around the fieldlands for a bit. She reminds us of the dangers of aggressive Pokemon, especially since your character can take damage from these Pokemon. And after that, she supplies us with a crafting kit and recipes for the basics. The basics including Pokeball and potions, which for the most part are really useful, being able to craft them at any moment and any time. Now, we are able to finally check in with Professor Laventon for the first time to find out that we have actually failed to submit a report with only Pokemon that start with unique letters, and have to now redo it, obviously returning to the field lands and making another report. We try again, and this time submit a report with 5 Pokemon, and none of them share a starting letter, so that is another goal completed. When we return to Jubilife, we find Akari wants to test her own skills against ours in a battle, and she heads off towards the battlegrounds, waiting for us to come fight her. And you guys know what that means. Release our starter for another goal down! Bye-bye, Cyndaquil. And there it is, another goal completed. Before we fight Akari, we quickly accept and complete a mission showing off Shinx's ears. We agree to Akari's challenge and show her how we roll out to beat her in battle using Bidoof. And with the battle decided, we finally continue on with the story, making way to complete this challenge. Returning to the fieldlands, we find ourselves being surprised by Volo as he explains the value of a backstrike on wild Pokemon. While at camp, we grab the Mushroom Cake marketing and the Timber of the Fields requests in case I find myself needing their rewards. And finally, we get to meet a member of the Diamond Clan, Mai and her Munchlax. She tests her strength in battle, but just like Akari, she gets a taste of Bidoof, and the rollouts on Munchlax claim us an easy victory in battle. Now, we start catching every single starter in sight, as we're going to need 6 of them before we fight the Alpha Cricketune up the hill. So, we can catch until there's not a single one left. And also, it's an easy Pokemon to complete its dex entries, so I beat up a couple too during this montage, but those are definitely cut out. Keep it a little bit easier to intake. We fill our team with the caught Starlies and make our way to meet up with Mai and Laventon at the top of the hill, where the Alpha Cricketune is causing a ruckus. Mai gives us a quick warning about the power of alphas, and then we take off to fight this giant cockroach, easily getting this aerial team to ace it, completing another task. We return to Jubilife Village for more story cutscenes involving Akari and Laventon, eating our mochi and talking about the frenzied cleaver that dwells deep within the fieldlands, and finally getting the chance to see the leaders of the Diamond and Pearl clan, named Adaman and Irido respectively. The two clashing personalities, arguing at the steps of the Survey Corps about whether their great god Sinnoh is all about time or space. Then, on to diversifying our team in an attempt to reach 10 flying type registered in our Pokedex, as all Pokemon receive XP from catches and battles. We then go and meet the leaders alongside Commander Kamado, discussing the enraged Pokemon that have been popping up, and if the Survey Corps has any fix for it. This pushes the story forward, giving us more opportunities to finally complete this bingo challenge. We then get a chance to speak to Adaman and Mai about the current situation growing in Hisui. Adaman also praises us for falling through time, as we must have been swimming in the divine light of his almighty Sinnoh. On our way out the door, we get approached by the Pocket Man. He offers to upgrade our satchel pockets, but as of right now we can only afford 7, so we're not going to be able to complete the challenge just yet, so we will return soon and complete it. We grab the request for Big Buizel Little Buizel, which is one of the tasks on the bingo card. We explore the village, collecting a couple requests, even though they aren't on the card, grabbing them just in case we need their rewards later. We continue forth to make it deeper into the Fieldlands, attempting to reach the Grand Tree Arena, where Leon resides over Cleavor. We defeat Leon and his team, then return to Laventon to report that we have achieved catching at least 40 Pokemon during a single report. That's another one completed. With the money made from that insanely large report, we make our way back to the Pokémon and get the last 3 upgrades that we require for another task to be completed. We make our way to the Heights camp in the Fieldlands, mastering the flute in a single try, and now with Weird Ear unlocked, we take aim at the balloons on the newly offered course, and hit all of them for another task completed. Now, we are finally introduced to the rampaging Cleaver we have heard so much about, also known as the Lord of the Woods. We throw a lot of bombs in its face, as battling it whenever the opportunity arose is only for people that have actual Pokemon strong enough to face it in battle. And, with defeating Cleavor, we unlock Feather Balls and throw a bunch at the Flying Highlands Gyarados until it finally stays in one. And that is another challenge completed. Finally, we have completed a single line of this bingo card, and it almost took 3 hours to do. But we still have one more line to finish before we can put this challenge to rest, and while we made progress in other sections of this card, the remaining options to complete this mission might prove to be a challenge with how difficult they are, or how far we are from actually being able to access them. Also, if you've been enjoying this video, do consider subscribing. I have really been enjoying streaming over on Twitch, and making videos does take time, but I have a lot of plans for upcoming videos that I think you won't want to miss out on, and as always, thank you guys. I couldn't be here without you. Now, let's get back to the challenge at hand, and complete a second line of bingo! We return to the Fieldlands to quickly wrap up a few more Pokedex entries to reach rank 2, come across an entirely random shiny Ponyta. I was so excited to see a shiny in this game. Also, one of the tasks that can generate on these bingo cards can be find and catch a shiny Pokemon. So, for anyone that wants to lockout race or try bingo themselves, remember that you might have to get really lucky. Other than that, we do quickly catch it, and upon reviewing our decks, we find out we perfected Starly's dex entry. Another task completed. We speed through the story, unlocking Ursaluna, and Benny reminds us to give a report of the Mirelands to Commander Kamado. We also grab another side quest just in case it comes handy in the future. And here she is, the rampaging Lilligant of the Mirelands, also known as the Lady of the Ridge. We make quick work of her by throwing bombs at her face, as my team wasn't really appropriate for the task at hand, and with her defeat, we continue forward in the story. Finally, with the team we have cultivated, we challenge the Alpha Snorlax from the Fieldlands, swiftly punch through with Monferno, giving us another completion. Also, because of the amount of time we have been taking on this challenge, we had to refresh the website so it could continue taking in completions. After that, we grind out Pokedex entries, catching as many things that cross our path as possible, beating them up if they are unwilling to stay in a ball, or if they are worth a lot of XP. And yeah, it took a while. Like, this is beyond sped up, and many parts have been cut out at this point, but it keeps going and going. Look, I sort my inventory at one point. I run into the water because I forgot I don't have a Basculegion. It keeps going. The grind in this game, if you're trying to actually speedrun this, can actually be pretty overwhelming. Which I didn't realize. I should have watched a speedrun on this prior to starting this challenge. It would have given me a better path, a better idea of what I was expecting to do throughout this whole thing. Because yeah, like, you can watch me. I'm catching everything. I'm battling every shaking tree. I'm knocking out as much. Trying to, and again, if they don't stay in the ball, I just run them over. I also tried to maybe get past the Catch a Rhyhorn, Rhydon, and Rhyperior by evolving it, but anytime I sent out Rhyhorn, it seemed to get punished in an insane way. And finally, after all that grinding, we are now Star Rank 3, and talking with Cyrene, she gives us the recipe for Great Balls. That's one of the upgrades that comes with reaching Star Rank 3, alongside access to the coastlands. Also, we have started to hunt down Lost Satchels in an attempt to buy a Protector, as we have decided to evolve the Rhyhorn instead of attempting to catch the entire evolution line. But even after returning the Satchels, we still come up short by a lot. Now we find ourselves at the Cobalt Coastlands, and get the chance to prove ourselves to Irida in a battle. It's a 1 vs 2, but our Infernape makes swift work of both her Glaceon and Eevee, giving us the opportunity to now explore the surrounding area. We get to meet Polina and Iscan, who settle within the coastlands, where we find out that currently there's an absence of a noble Pokemon after the Arcanine, which held that title previously, has passed away. Iscan lets us know if we want help from Basculegion, which is the next ride Pokemon, we will have to make its favorite food, and one of their ingredients is going to require a Dusclops. Now, there still isn't a direct win in sight, as Satchels won't respawn this early, so our Rhyperior is out until we reach the Highlands. So, we continue with the story, looking to complete more paths. Now tasked with catching a Dusclops, we rush over to Deadwood Haunt, where it's found at night. We cook up the meal and then get the chance to feed Basculegion, unlocking water traversal and giving us access to Fire Spit Island and the waters of Hisui. Also, this malformed Murkrow showed up while we were grinding out the Pokedex, and its eyes fell right out of its head after being caught unawares, which caught me unawares. We also catch a Finneon while on one of these little pieces of land, and I don't know if you guys would count this as shore, but we did anyways, so you know what that means. Another task completed. After that, we return to Laventon to complete a report, and we find out we have finally registered 10 different flying-type Pokemon for another goal completed. Back to the story, we reach Fire Spit Island, where we find the Fortune Sisters trying to pressure the stolen Growlithe into taking on the mantle as Fire Spit Island's noble Pokemon. But they fail as we show up just in time to stop them. The sisters decide to challenge us to battle, with first up being Clover and her Abomasnow, which we make quick work of as it's 4 times weak to fire and it's in a volcano. Next up is Coin and her Toxicroak. Staravia makes quick work of them as Toxicroak isn't known for having a high special defense, and that Air Slash puts it right to sleep in a single hit, giving us the upper hand in having to take on the third sister, Charm. And instead of having one Pokemon, she carries 2, a Rhydon and a Gengar. But Rhyhorn is still able to make relatively quick work of both of them, giving us a final victory we need over these 3 delinquents. The story continues after the battle, and the Growlithe related to the prior noble evolves and takes on the mantle, becoming the next noble of Fire Spit Island. But at the same time, an external force spawns above, striking the Arcanine and enraging it, sending it into a frenzy, and we are the ones tasked with calming it down. We craft some bombs and make our way into Arcanine's arena, seeing the menacing energy as it walks towards us over the lava, and finally we face the Lord of the Isles. After failing once because this arena has some of the worst design choices ever, tiny space and invisible walls, cough cough, we try again throwing bombs because again our team is purely for trying to further our desk research and isn't really built for battles. And after a difficult battle, we finally calm Arcanine down, leaving us more room to continue furthering our story. Watching the energy disperse from Arcanine, we get to see its true colors. We quickly go and reach 999 Apricorn, using our hard-earned Pokédollars for another task completed. Next, we fight a Magikarp and push to struggle using Mimic Eevee, fighting fire with fire, or should I say, splash with splash. This also took a while, and has been sped up 16 times from its original speed, and still takes 35 seconds. Now, at this point, we have multiple completion conditions, but on stream, I was so stubborn wanting that Rhyperior that I missed the easiest end for at least another 15 minutes. Sitting there, trying to run through, keep upgrading my decks, and then I finally gave up and started to grind for outbreaks. And after resetting the maps, we finally found an outbreak. The end of our challenge was on the horizon. It was in sight. Collecting at least 8 Scorpy, finally ending this challenge. Reporting to Laventon to make sure we did it, and there it is. That is the final task completed for this challenge where we tried to achieve 2-line bingo. And it's done. Finally, this challenge is complete, and it only took me, let me look, 8 hours? I think the reason I was much slower than I had expected or calculated for was because I kept trying to do side stuff and pick up more than required, and I didn't focus enough on getting a higher rank quicker to access more of these challenges, as a number of them are accessible only from the Highlands onwards. I will definitely reattempt this challenge one day, and also hopefully I will be doing challenge races with some friends and fellow creators, so look forward to those streams and videos in the future. And of course, as always, thank you everyone for the support here on YouTube and on Twitch, where we have reached 50 followers. Starting this hobby has been fun, and the community building has been one of my favorite things, and I look forward to making more content for all of you. If you have enjoyed this video, drop a like, leave a comment for feedback, and subscribe. Now is the time for me to rest until my next video. Thank you all again, and see you next time.